will be 12 prizes randomly drawn from correct submissions that follow the rubric. Each of those will be awarded $40 and four prizes for pleasant surprises of $40 each and one grand prize surprise of $100. Together, that all adds up to $740. And this channel is called Bible Action Math. So far, we've given away over $10,000 between August 16, 2025 and April 28, 2026. You will turn in the handwritten work into a Google form by May 12, 2026. That's International Nurses Day. And according to the stories, that May 12 is also Florence Nightingale's birthday. And she's the person that the date of International Nurses Day was made from, her birthday. And according to the stories, she was a statistician, and this will be our first statistics video on this channel. Up until now, we've done college algebra and modeling problems mostly. Each person may win a maximum of one International Nurses Day 2026 random prize of $40 and a maximum of two International Nurses Day 2026 surprise prizes. The reason for two is because my name is Uncle Benny, also called Professor X, and so on. And my wife's name is Aunt Mango, and we both get surprised by some of your entries. And if we're both surprised by the same one, that one can get $40, possibly up to 3 times because of the 40s in the surprises. And then if that one was randomly selected, there would be a 40 there. Theoretically, the most anyone could get in this whole thing is $180 because we have a grand prize that's 100. Let's say I chose it for the grand prize that's 100. Aunt Mango chose a $40 prize. And if you were randomly selected, that would add up to 180. Everybody needs to use their own email account when you submit it into the Google form. And you must find the mean, median, mode, range, and sample standard deviation for a real data set with at least 5 points. You must show work for the sample standard deviation, and all of this must be by hand on paper, not on a tablet or any electronic device, not altered by AI. So I will be making an example in a separate video, and this is just the beginning of statistics. It's very easy. The mean, median, mode, range, and the sample standard deviation for a real data set. And you must create a visualization of the data by hand. Ideas include a bar chart, Pareto chart, scatter plot, and more. According to the stories, Florence Nightingale is involved with making a pie chart. You have to be at least 18 years old in a permitted country. You must have a progress pic, including every one of the writing instruments used in the work, as well as at least part of your actual hand, at least part of a finger. For Earth Day, the writing instruments part was optional, but it is required this time. And I'll try to show that in part 2 video. You have to have a final pick also. It has to be family friendly. Now, this one does have to do with nursing, so I understand if it could get like a little bit bloody or something, but there are children that are welcome to watch this channel, and we want it to be family friendly. Round your answers to one more decimal place than the original data had. So if you are measuring the heart rate of somebody and the numbers are like 74, 80, 91, 68, and 105, then you want your mean to have one more decimal place. So the mean could have point something, which is typical in statistics. So that's the rubric. And wanted to briefly explain this lady, Florence Nightingale. So if I go to Google Scholar and type her name in, here it says Florence Nightingale as statistician. This is from 1916. And it says that one biographer, Sir Edward Cook, speaks with sympathy and understanding of her as a statistician. He calls her a, quote, passionate statistician. So what does that have to do with International Nurses Day? International Nurses Day is celebrated around the world every 12th of May, the anniversary of Florence Nightingale's birth, using the hashtags pound IND 2026 and pound Our Nurses, Our Future. From Wikipedia, it was written in London in 1886. And it's a little hard to read, but down here it says Florence Nightingale, where she was advocating for the use of salicylic acid and antiseptic in dressings for cancer patients in 1886. This says that she lived until 1910, so she was about 90. She was an English social reformer, statistician, and the founder of modern nursing. Nightingale came to prominence while serving as a manager and trainer of nurses during the Crimean War, in which she organized care for wounded soldiers at Constantinople. She significantly reduced death rates by improving hygiene and living standards. Nightingale gave nursing a favorable reputation and became an icon of Victorian culture, especially in the persona of the lady with the lamp, making rounds of wounded soldiers at night. This channel is Bible Action Math, and what does it have to do with the Bible? So in this channel, we do math problems related to the Bible, and I found this verse in 1 Timothy, where supposedly a person named Paul was talking to Timothy, and he's giving him all of this information in this letter. And saying things about honoring widows and putting widows on a list who need help. And he's talking about elders. But then he says this sentence, no longer drink only water, but take a little wine for the sake of your stomach and your frequent ailments. And if we go into the original language, which is the Koine Greek, it says down here, ailments are asthenias. It's from a word meaning feebleness, by implication, malady. And if we click it, that form of the word is found 8 times in the New Testament. And sometimes it's translated as a sickness or an infirmity. It could be translated as a disease or a weakness. And then if you change the ending of the word to the different endings, there are 24 times found. Notice this fourth one has 8 occurrences, and that's over here. Now, when I teach statistics, that second letter is extremely important because that's a lowercase sigma. And that letter, that Greek letter, is used for what's called the population standard deviation, which we are not calculating in the rubric for this one. Calculating a sample standard deviation that is commonly symbolized by a regular S, like down here. But to make it even more complicated, if you look at the Greek word asthenias, which means like infirmities, and that's plural, this last letter that looks like a snake or a squiggle, it looks a lot like a normal looking S. That's actually a sigma. So it looks different than the second letter, that sigma, because it's the last letter in the word. And from everything I know, we don't put the little sigma at the end of a Greek word. And I mean, when it looks like this, it changes its appearance into that snake looking thing. Okay. So in the second example, as the eyes, that's a sigma way at the end, but that's really hard for people who are new at statistics because you wanted all the new people to really focus on that sigma right there. So why is this related to Nurse Day? Because one religious leader was telling another one to don't only drink water, but to take a little wine for the sake of his stomach and his frequent problems. So you can look into this even more. And that was the introduction to our current holiday giveaway. It's the birthday of this lady represented here, Florence Nightingale, that was considered the founder of modern nursing. And we're going to be giving away $740, and it's going to go to up to 17 people, but sometimes it could be the same person that wins more than one type of prize. So stay tuned for the example video, and everyone have a great day.